Yeah, exactly. I like this. Michael Bloom coming to make some trouble.
Uh-oh, no heckle. I said no heckle. He's like, that's with wires.
So many wires. What's up? Kan begann han nicht bevor sie ihn amazing. Forgot the word for that. You want to be plugged in? Do you want it though? All right, let's.
I'm just going to play this chord and build up the tension. I'm just going to play this single chord and build up the tension. It's going to be like a Dunkirk.
It's a stressful chord.
It's a stressful chord.
It is. So it's an unpleasant chord. right, welcome everyone. Come on in and find a seat. Shabbat Shalom. So glad you could be here with us this evening as we celebrate Shabbat together. It has been a week. And while I know that there are some of us who are feeling like we can breathe a little bit easier this week, there are just as many of us who are finding it a little bit harder to breathe this week. So whichever group you fall into, I invite you tonight to just start our service by taking, in Hebrew we call it a neshama amuka, just a deep breath. And let's just be here in this space together to be able to sing and pray and learn and listen and find a way to move forward into the week and the month and the years to come. So tonight, I worked so hard to make sure that we would actually have song sheets, because I know that sometimes we sing songs and the words aren't in here, and we are going to be singing all these songs, but there's one more song that I forgot to put in. Don't be mad at me. The words are very easy. We've sung them before, so I'm going to have you repeat after me. Olam,
Olam,
Chesed,
Chesed,
Yibaneh.
Yibaneh.
Beautiful, and that's it. And that just means I will build this world of righteousness. So we'll sing it in Hebrew and in English, and there's a lot of lies for you to join into. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yalalai, lai, 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 lai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yalalai, lai, lai, lai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yalalai, lai, lai, lai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Dai. I will build this world. I will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, 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 lai. And you will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, 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 lai. And if we build this world from love, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai, God will build. Then God will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Olam Chesed, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. La 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 la. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya la 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 la. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya la 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 la. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. La la la. So often we begin services by acknowledging that we know that people come to services for so many different reasons. Some of us come here to learn, some of us come here to worship, some just to be together. And I hope that whatever it is you came here for tonight, that you find what it is you're looking for. But I know that some of you are specifically here because tomorrow Alana Moons is becoming Bar Mitzvah. And so, in honor of that special occasion, it is my pleasure to invite up Alana and Abe and Mira and Lisa and David to help us light our Shabbat candles and with Kiddush and Motzi. And so the lighting of our candles tonight, if you'd like to join us, starts on page 2. Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. All right. Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. So one of the teachings that we often offer about Shabbat is the idea that Shabbat is supposed to be such a special time that it's as if angels are welcomed into our midst. And so we welcome those angels on page 24, singing the words of Shalom Aleichem, welcoming angels into our community, into our homes, making sure that they're making this time just a little bit sweeter. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon, mi-melech malachei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seidchem l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon, mi-melech malachei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. On page 29 at the top.
There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless.
And we join together on page 28, and I ask you to please rise. Baruch Hu etz Adonai HaMevorach. On page 31, we read together at the top, Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the currents of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, and we join in the watchword of our faith, the words of the Shema on 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlachtecha v'derech uv'shofbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu lototafot b'einenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzetzi etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. On 39, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And so we sing the song that our ancestors sang as they were crossing from slavery to freedom on page 40, the words of the Micha Mocha. Micha mocha bailim Adonai, Micha mocha nedar b'kodesh, Norat tilot osei feleh, Norat tilot osei feleh. Freedom is a funny thing, because we know that freedom seems like it is the absolute dream. Once we find freedom, we have to make our own choices, and then we have to live with those choices as well. And so we ask God that wherever our freedom takes us, that we should always feel as if we have a shelter of God's protection over us. So wherever our freedom leads, we know that we still have God sheltering us and bringing us peace. And so we sing the words of Hashkiveinu that I finally remembered are actually on your sheet tonight. So if you want to join with us, the Hebrew is on page 42, but the whole thing is there in the words. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat So we come now to that point in our service on page 46 called Tefillah. And I know that tonight some of you are here who maybe are not here very often. We also have visitors tonight. We're so pleased that we have a wonderful tour group from Hazelwood who is here joining us tonight. And so we know that for some of you, and actually even for some of our Shabbat regulars, these words may seem unfamiliar. And that is okay. Because when the rabbis composed this part of the prayer service, they knew that there would be days and there would be years and there would be centuries where people didn't actually know these words. And so when they put this prayer in our Siddur, in our prayer book, they wanted you to be able to have the time, if the words spoke to you, if they made sense, to say these words aloud, but if, in fact, you would prefer just to offer the prayers of your heart, that this space is here for you too. So I'll ask you, if you will, on page 46 to please rise. And if these words have meaning to you and you wish to join with us, please do so. Otherwise, we would invite you at this time to offer the prayers of your heart. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasrei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol ata rab lehoshia, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'ofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'agevurot, umidom melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lechayot hakom, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakom. Please be seated. So of all the prayers that I know many of us have been offering this week, so many of us have been praying for peace here in our country, here in Israel, and around the world. And so on page 60, we turn to this prayer, Shalom Rav, asking for God to bring peace in all the places where we so desperately need it. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim la'olam, Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim la'olam, Ki ata melech Adon, L'chol ha'shalom, Ki ata melech Adon, Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim la'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim la'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. B'cholit u'v'chosha b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim So it is our minhag, our custom here at Temple Israel, that at this point in the service, we always skip a few pages ahead, actually a lot of pages ahead, all the way to page 253. Because even though this prayer is actually not said in a traditional evening service, it is one that so many of us feel strongly about that we feel like we have to sing it every single time we're together. And those are the words of the Mishaberach, our healing prayer. So if there's someone who you're thinking of at this time who could use healing prayers and who would appreciate knowing that their names were being shared in this space, I'd invite you to share them at this time. So at this time, we're also thinking of Eric Ash and Rafaela Rodriguez Goldstein. We're thinking of Morton Green and Carl Greenberg, of Amy Lampert and of Drew. We're thinking of Marilyn Schlitter and David Smith, of Steve Turner and Lacey Weinstein. We're praying too, not just for the hostages, but we are also praying for all of those who are injured in the pogrom in Amsterdam. So thinking of those and thinking of all who are in need of healing, we join together in the words of the Mishaberach. For one more prayer of peace on page 142. Oh, say shalom, bimroma, oh, ya say shalom, aleinu, ve'yakom Israel, ve'imeru, amen. Oh, So this week, we're beginning a new chapter. We're beginning a new chapter in America, and we are also beginning a new chapter in our Torah. So we'll start with Torah, because that's easier. This week in the Torah is actually where the Jewish story begins. This week in the Torah, God calls to Abraham, he's still called Abram at this point, and says to him, Lech lecha ma'artzecha u'mimoladzecha. He says, Abram, I want you to go from your father's house and from the land that you know, to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation. It is the beginning of the Jewish story. But our rabbis, and frankly anyone who has ever read this Torah portion before, always ask the question, why did Abraham get to be the one who's called? Why is he the one who's chosen? Because even last week when we heard the story of Noah, we were told that Noah was an Ish Tzaddik, he was a righteous man in his generation, but Abram, he's really called out of the blue. And so our ancestors did what they always do, is they tried to find some sort of a midrash, some sort of a story that would help explain what made Abraham the guy. What made him the one to start the Jewish story? And the story is actually very brief. It's in Bereshit Rabbah. It's in this wonderful collection of midrashim. And it's actually told as an allegory. And the allegory says, Abraham, it was just like this. It was as if a man was walking down the road and saw a bira doleket, a castle that was all lit up. And he wondered who owns this bira doleket. And God said, I own it. And that's the reason. It's actually a terrible story. It doesn't really make any sense, right? But here's the thing. Like all stories, especially the stories that are going to help us understand who we are and how we look at the world, these stories that are really good stories, it's all about the details and it's all about the perspective. So I'm going to tell the story again. I'm going to tell it actually twice. The first version of the story goes like this. One day, Abraham is walking along, and he sees in front of him this amazing bira, this amazing castle. Now, you have to remember that at the time when Abraham was living, Abraham was famous for living in a really nice tent. So to be able to walk along the street and see a castle in front of you was a pretty remarkable thing in and of itself. But this castle, it wasn't just a castle. It wasn't just the most beautiful, majestic thing that he had ever seen. This castle, this bira, it was doleket. And this is a word that you actually know, because when Alana and her family were lighting the candles, they said, lahadlik ner. Lahadlik means to light. And so doleket, it's the same word, lahadlik and doleket. This entire castle, it was doleket. It was all lit up. And in the days before there were electric lights or even gas lights or anything like that, to be able to see a castle that was completely lit up was the most amazing thing that Abraham had ever seen. He could not believe his eyes, and as he looked at this castle all lit up, he said, "Who can this belong to? Who is its master?" And as he's looking at this marvelous structure, God comes to the window and says, "I am the owner. I am the master of this house." And Abraham knows in that moment of glory that he is going to follow God anywhere. That he is willing to do anything that God says, that he will always stand by God's side, and that his children and his children's children and for generations to come, they will follow the God who is able to be the owner and the creator and the master of this marvelous site. And so the Jewish story begins. That's version 1. Version 2. Abraham is walking along one day, and he sees in front of him this amazing bira. And of course, this is a time when we know there weren't a lot of castles around, because Abraham's famous for living in a tent. And he sees this incredible bira, this incredible castle in front of him. But even though it is this remarkable thing, this bira, this castle, it is doleket. And we know this word. We know this from when Alana and her family lit the candles, because just like lahad lik ner, doleket can mean completely on fire. Abraham sees this amazing, amazing structure, and the whole thing is on fire. This marvelous thing, and it is burning to the ground. And beams are falling, and sparks are coming off of it, and the heat is so intense, he's afraid to even get close to it. And he says to himself, what could this possibly be? Who is the owner? Who should be here as the master of this house? And God comes to the window, trapped inside, and says, I am the owner of this house, and I am the master. And Abraham knows in that moment that he will follow God anywhere, that he will do whatever God says and whatever God asks. And for generation after generation, his children and his children's children will follow that God who is so badly in need of saving, with this house burning around him. And so begins the Jewish story. Now, these two stories are exactly the same. They have exactly the same words. But what matters in the story is not so much how you interpret that word doleket, whether this castle was all lit up or whether it was on fire. Because what matters is that Abraham says, Hineni, I'm the one who's going to follow God, whatever comes next from here. So, my friends, this week, there's been a lot of different ways of looking at what is happening with our country. For some of us, we feel like this is actually the moment that we have been waiting for. We feel like finally our country is in a place where it can be that city on a hill, that light unto the nations that we have been striving to be for so long, that we can have that moment of greatness and light again, and that we are in that place. And there are just as many of us that look at our country this week and think, dear God, it is being burned to the ground in front of our very eyes. But it's the same story. And it's all in the details, and it is all in the perspective. And for us, just like for Abraham, what actually matters is not so much how you view the story or the castle itself or our country. What matters is that this is where our story begins. Because we, as the descendants of Abraham, are called to say Hineni regardless. We are called to say we are going to be the ones who step forward and say we are going to stand by God. We are going to stand by our people. We are going to do whatever needs to be done, because that is what it means to be one of the children of Abraham. I wish I had some easy answer. I wish I could say that one of these versions of the story is so true and is so right, and that is the way we should go. But again, we're never going to get there. And the only thing that we can go moving forward, the only thing we can do is just what Abraham did. To take God's message, who said, Lech lecha, start something new. Carry your family and your journey forward. As long as it's by God's side and as long as it is with holy intentions, we will get somewhere beautiful together. So I'll ask you, if you will, to join us. We're going to sing again in the words on the prayer sheet, the words that come from this week's Torah portion that are all about taking those first steps on the journey together, wherever it may take us, as long as we are by God's side. To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you ask you, if you will now, to please rise on page 282, and we'll turn together to the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. On page 287, may we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. This has been a difficult week for so many members of our congregation, and so we recall with love the names of those taken from us in recent days, and our hearts go out to their families in sympathy as we recall their names: Mari Lieberman, Lou Loebner, Marty Rothman, Bob Shapiro, Marcia Thompson, and David Wool. And we now recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the Wall of Honor for perpetual memorial: Benjamin I. Bernard, Kate Brick, Samuel S. Broderson, Abraham Brown, Andrea Kosberg Carlson, Harry Ephron, Jean Eilen, Harold Fink, Jack Stanley Fishman, Harry Frank, Corinne Fuller Glazer, Ben Glassman, Charles Saul Glassman, Jack Goldring, Simeon Gollum, Barbara Gunther, Paul Heiling, and Jacob Honig, Juliet Schutz-Hyman, Rennie Joachimstahl, Lina Kahn, Ralph Elliott Kaplan, Jeffrey Korn, Alvin Lasky, Herman Lieber, Lucille Davis Lipson, Jacob Loth, Lois Malashak, Emmanuel Mendelson, Mark Michael, Betty Jane Mitchell, Richard Optican, Bella Ozerwich, Muriel Plummer, Harry Quicksilver, Nathan Rosenberg, Gerald Rosenblum, Ronald Sachs, Herman Shermer, Elsie Shukar, Jacob Scheinbein, Philip Sherman, Stella Schoenberg, Joyce Schrag, Faye Silverman, Florence Sipkin, Mignon Coppola-Seitman, Bessie Babe Sline, Florence Sofer, Jerry S. Stein, Milton Sussman, Erwin Tarl, Nathan Tureen, Alfred Vorhaus, Lily Winner, Alvin Wolf Sr., and Ida Zelson. So with those names and the names we keep in our hearts, we turn together to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'emru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam umei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran ba'ama v'emru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Ve'emru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'emru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. We say, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, Huya ase shalom. Aleinu ve'al Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Please be seated. So we have a few announcements before we turn to our closing song and explanation of our closing song. So first, we're so excited again that we have our tour group here this evening. For those of you who are a part of the tour, we would ask you after services if you want to go and get a little snack at the Oneg, and then come back here, and Rabbi Alper is going to do some teaching for you and show you the Torah and show you some other wonderful things. Should I not?
Don't oversell it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it will be wonderful. And then also, of course, we invite you to look at our Shabbat sheet that tells you some of the things coming up. We have Lilith readers both next week and next month. You're always welcome to come. We also are starting, because it's the holiday season, to work on our Thanksgiving dinner for people in need. It is going to look a little bit different this year at the request of agencies whom we serve, but we hope you will still participate. And also we have a collection for our partner school with Monroe to be able to make sure that all of those children are able to have a very happy holiday season as well. So for our closing song tonight, and for those of you who are with us over COVID, and by with us, I mean you were watching us over COVID, you know that Rabbi Michael and I often would choose sort of pop culture songs, or songs, I don't know if this counts as pop culture, but secular songs that we felt like fit the mood. And we decided that one of our goals before we retire from Temple Israel, a long time from now, is to make sure that you all fully understand that Paul Simon is one of the greatest songwriters and probably prophets of our people that ever was. So this one we've sung a few times with you before, but it just often seems to have just the exact message when we are all hoping and praying for America. So we hope that you will join with us in the words of American Tune. Many is the time I've been mistaken, and many times confused. Yes, and I've often felt forsaken, and certainly misused. Oh, but I'm all right, I'm all right. I'm just weary to my bones. Still, you don't expect to be bright and bon vivant, so far away from home, so far away from home. And I don't know a soul who's not been battered, don't have a friend who feels at ease. I don't know a dream that's not been shattered and driven to its knees. Oh, but it's all right, for we lived so well so long. Still, when I think of the road we're traveling on, I wonder what went wrong. Oh, I wonder what went wrong. And I dreamed I was dying. I dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly, and looking back down on me, smiled reassuringly. And I dreamed I was flying, and high up above my eyes could clearly see Statue of Liberty sailing away to sea. And I dreamed I was flying. For we come on the ship they call Mayflower. We come on the ship that sailed the moon. We come in the age's most uncertain hour and sing an American tune. It's all right, it's all right. You can't be forever blessed. Still, tomorrow's gonna be another working day, and I'm trying to get some rest. That's all, I'm trying to get some rest. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.